Um, my name is Miller, and I've been talking with some of your classmates recently about podcasting because I do it and it's kind of fun and I know some stuff. So let me show you what I do, and maybe if you have other questions, you could come by room 207 and talk to me, and we'll see. So I work on a Mac, but the process would probably be the same for a PC. So there's that. Some things you're going to need before you start is the first bit is you need a way to get the sound into your computer. Um, most laptops have a microphone, and that's pretty cool. And you can use that and set that up. Or my journalists use their iPhone or cell phone, and there's a voice memo app on iPhones. And so that's a way to get audio in. My advice is to try to record the best audio that you can. So get yourself in a space where there's not a lot of extra noise like fans or bells or cell phones ringing or stuff like that. And position the microphone between you and the person you're talking to. And do some tests. Record yourself just talking to them. Usually when I do a podcast with a guest, I sit and talk with them before just to make them comfortable and tell them what I'm going to do. And then we listen to it and I say, hey, do you like the way your voice sounds? And they say yes and whatever. So the second thing you do once you get your audio is you're going to need some way to edit it. And what I recommend, it's free. There is a program called Audacity, and you won't get a virus. And make sure that you download the one for Windows, or if you're working on a Mac, make sure you get the correct one. Okay? Now I've already got Audacity on my machine, so I'm going to show you kind of what it looks like, and then you can make a decision about how you feel about that. So it's open source, so it's made by the users, and essentially what happens is you can import your audio. So you'll email it to yourself or connect to your phone to your machine, but to transfer the file from your recording device to your machine, you're going to need to figure that out. You can upload it to your Google Drive and then import it from there. But I'm just going to do today's podcast on the bulletin. I'll just import it just to show you kind of what it's like. And so this is Audacity. You can see audio in there. And then you can import multiple tracks. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to also import yesterday's bulletin. And it'll import it, and then they're tracked on top of each other. Okay. This bar is scrubbing, and right here, I want you to click the manual, and everything you need to know is probably in getting started. Editing sounds is probably what you're going to need to cover the most. Okay, so splitting clips, that kind of stuff. A lot of you do YouTube videos, and it's pretty similar. It's just audio.
Are now on sale, but only for
audio editing software, not video editing software. For those of you who are looking to get more into this, I don't edit with Audacity. I edit with Adobe Audition. And this is a software that's a subscription service, but it's essentially the same way. It's kind of expensive. It's about $50 a month to use the Creative Cloud from Adobe, but it gives you access to all of these interesting design tools, Photoshop, Illustrator, Lightroom. And a lot of the work I do with Gigantia relies on this stuff. But it's essentially the same process. This is the scrubbing tool. This right here is the way you split a clip. And let's say that you wanted to throw this away, you could. And this is multiple tracks, and you can mute things, and it's kind of fun. But don't worry about Audition. for you and your purposes, Audacity is super cool. The third part of podcasting is you're going to need some way to share what you've created with the world. So in Audacity, I'm going to delete this track. In Audacity, let's say that this is your finished product. You would go to File, and then you would go to Export. And you need to export it as an MP3. So you'd click File, Export, and then you'd save it in a place where you could find it later. And then what you will have is a file. So if I go here to Finder or Windows Explorer, you'll see right there, that's my MP3 file. Okay. And that's today's bulletin podcast. So then the way I share my files is I have created something called a SoundCloud account. And maybe you're familiar with SoundCloud. So this is where I host, that's what they call it, host my podcast. So here you go to the upload moment after you've built your SoundCloud account. And I think if you're at least 13 and some other things, the account's free. You can upgrade to Pro, but you'll see here, if you don't have a Pro account, if you have just a regular free account, it only gives you so much time. So I think it gives you up to 2 hours. And my podcast is short, so I delete it. But if you go to upload and then you choose the file, you just pick the file, and then it uploads. You can change the image here. So I got a picture of a softball player here just for fun. And then you can change all of these tags and this and that and the other thing. I think for class, you probably just want to make it private so that you can play it in class or share it with somebody. I make mine public so it can get all over the world, and if they want. And then you click save. Okay, you change the genre to, a podcast or whatever, storytelling. And then you click save. And then it does some magic work. And then this right here, my friends, is the link. So, so this will take you to what I just created. And then you hit play. And you can do it. My advice is to listen to some podcasts. I'm going to go in here and delete this, by the way, because it's just for an example. So, delete forever. My advice would be to listen to some podcasts and see how they kind of structure their thing. There's usually an intro. There's usually some sort of conversation, and then there's usually some sort of outro. So I was going to show you the paper trail. It's the Exeter Sun Gazette. They cover news really well. And in the local area, they're from Exeter, but their podcast is rad. It's good structure. Other podcasts I listen to, I tend to be political. That's just my thing. There's a link right here on Redwood Gigantea, actually, and I think it's in, well, there's my podcasts in here for Gigantea if you want to listen to them. They're great. And I'm not saying that because they're mine, and they're great because I get to talk to great people. That's essentially it. Like, podcasting really isn't that complicated. You need a way to record audio, you need a way to get it into your machine, and then you need a way to edit it while it's in your machine, and then you need a way to share it with the world. And so my recommendation for those two things are Audacity and SoundCloud. If you have GarageBand, you can use that. You can podcast editing software. There's, Buzzsprout. There's You just Google it and you'll start to see. This one says is the easiest. I've never used it. But the free option is Audacity. And there's, okay. And I use Adobe Audition. Big time money. Long term. You can make some changes and do some rad stuff. It's pretty attractive software. Hey, I'm in room 207. I like to help people. Miss Saputo said, I don't want my kids bothering you too much, and I would be mad if you didn't bother me. I like to be bothered. Come over here. We'll talk. I got microphones. You can borrow my machines if you want to work at lunch. It's not a problem. Chat with you.